Nobody's marriage goes quiet in one day. There's no single fight, no one slammed door you can point to and say, that's when it happened. It's smaller than that. It's quieter than that. And that's exactly why it's so easy to miss. Until one day you're sitting across from someone you used to talk to about everything, and you don't know what to say. We tend to think marriages fall apart because of the big things: an affair, a betrayal, a huge argument that changes everything. And sometimes that's true, but researchers who study long term couples keep finding something else, something less dramatic and honestly more common. Most marriages don't end in an explosion, they end in a slow fade, fewer conversations, fewer questions asked and actually listened to, less reaching for each other at the end of the day. Nothing dramatic enough to name, which is exactly what makes it so hard to fix. You can't point to a single moment and say, we need to talk about that. There isn't one moment. There are hundreds of small ones. Picture the moments that make up an ordinary evening. One person walks into the kitchen, opens the fridge, takes something out, walks back out, and nobody says a word. Dinner happens with two people at the same table, both scrolling, neither really there. The TV is on, but there's a gap on the sofa that didn't used to be there. None of these moments feel like a crisis in the moment they happen. Each one on its own seems too small to even mention. But little moments compound. They're not separate events. They're the same pattern, repeating night after night, quietly teaching both people that this is just what being married looks like now. And that's the part that should actually worry us. Not any single evening, but what 100 evenings like it start to build. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. You can be doing everything right: paying the bills, raising the kids, never raising your voice, and still be drifting. Because drifting isn't about doing something wrong. It's about stopping doing something small and right, over and over, until it's just gone. Nobody decides to stop noticing their partner. It just gets crowded out by work, by phones, by exhaustion, by the sheer logistics of running a house and a family. And because nothing ever technically goes wrong, there's no moment that forces either person to stop and ask, wait, when did we get so far apart? If the problem is 100 small moments, the good news is the fix doesn't have to be dramatic either. You don't need a grand gesture or a 2-week holiday to feel like yourselves again. You need one habit, done on purpose, consistently, that puts a little moment of real connection back into an ordinary day. Something as small as putting the phone down for the first 10 minutes, someone walks through the door. That's the whole idea behind the Peaceful Marriage Playbook. Not a list of huge changes, but the specific small habits that quietly rebuild what the little moments quietly wore away, one page, one habit at a time. If any of this felt familiar, you're not alone, and you're not failing. You just haven't been shown the small habits that actually work yet. I've put together a free guide that walks you through exactly where to start, links in the description. And if you want the full method, the Peaceful Marriage Playbook has the rest, plus a tracker to help you actually stick with it. This channel is where I'll keep sharing what the research says about marriage, and more importantly, what actually helps.